A lot of time we tend to say things like, oh, I want to protect my mental health, but we don't really understand what mental health is all about and what its classifications are. You agree with me that mental health is total health. We cannot claim to be totally healthy if our mental health is at stake, because it is only someone who is mentally healthy that can look after their physical health. In other words, if your mental health has problem, your physical health will definitely be impacted. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It is only someone who can think straight that will understand or that will realize that, oh, there is a need for me to go have a shower. It is only someone who can think straight that will realize that, oh, I am hungry and then there's a need for me to eat. Or this food is clean, this food is good for my body. It is only if your mental health is okay. So today, under mental health, I'm just going to classify the various classes of mental health disorder. If you're a psychiatric doctor or a mental health nurse, you'll be used to the term DSM-5 or ICD-10 like that. But for the context of this video, because I know that there are non psychiatrists who are going to be watching me, I'll just give a general classification of mental health disorder. So under the various classification of mental health disorder, we have the anxiety disorder. Anxiety, as the name implies, is described as intense or extreme fear. One is said to be anxious when the fear that the person is experiencing impacts in their daily activities. And these are anxiety include the general anxiety disorder, we have the panic attack, and then we have phobia. Phobia simply means fear. Panic attack is when you're so tensed, when you're panicking. So this fall under the category of anxiety disorder. Another classification is the mood disorder. This has to do with our mood. Are we happy or are we sad? And under the mood disorder, we have the bipolar affective disorder, and then we have the severe depression. Another classification is the neurodevelopmental disorders. This disorder arises during the early development of a child, and it includes things like the ADHD, the autism, and other learning disabilities. Another classification of mental health disorder is the schizophrenia. Yes, schizophrenia. I know that's the popular one. And this involves hallucinations, delusions, and other things that impairs our reality thinking and testing. Another form of mental health disorder is the obsessive compulsive disorder, where like I said, the obsessive compulsive disorder, in this type of mental health disorder, the individual also carries out a repetitive action because they are obsessed with something. Let's say they are obsessed with being clean, extremely clean. They tend to carry out a repetitive action to maintain that cleanliness, like because they are obsessed with let's say being healthy. It's not like every other person is not healthy, but it's a condition. Like I said, it's a mental health condition. They will now repetitively always wash their hand. You want to touch them, they will tell you, oh, you wash your hand. Even if you wash your hand and touch them, you will see them looking for something to clean that part of the body you touched. So it's a form of mental health disorder that needs to be checked. Another form of mental health disorder is the eating disorder. Yes, there's a condition in mental health called eating disorder. This is a situation whereby uh, some people there's just problem with their eating. Yes, either they constantly say they don't have appetite, or they tend to eat and then induce vomiting themselves. Yes, it's a disorder and it is classed under mental health disorder. Another form of mental health disorder is a personality disorder. This is usually not being talked about because people see it as, well, it's the way this person behaves. But no, if it impacts on another person, we tend to diagnose this disorder. Personality disorder stems from a pattern of behavior, inner experiences, which is different from what is expected culturally. Like if you're in a place where there are 10 people and you alone act differently from the other 9 people, it can be as a result of some form of personality disorder. Sometimes you may know that you have this, at other times the individual may not know that they have this type of disorder. Another form of mental health disorder is the trauma, and this is usually comes as a result of exposure to some kind of event. I want to give some example. Like I grew up in the northern part of Nigeria, and somehow I'm affected by the trauma that I passed through due to the recurrent crisis we experienced in that part of the country. It is not really affecting me, but some situations may just come up. Like if I hear that, oh, there's crisis that break up in a particular country, I tend to just flashback. The fear tends to come back and say, what if this fight happens right now in this place where I am? What am I going to do? So but it when it starts affecting my daily activity, it can be said to be post-traumatic. I can be said to be suffering from. There's also the neurocognitive disorder, which which is characterized by conditions that impact our cognitive functioning. Example is where we have the Alzheimer's and we also have the delirium. There is also substance misuse disorders. These occur as a result of abuse of psychoactive substances. And because these substances affect behavior and cognition, they are also classified under mental health disorders. In summary, I've listed about 10 different classes of mental health disorder. I've mentioned obsessional compulsive disorder, eating disorder, neurodegenerative disorder, neurodevelopmental disorder, schizophrenia, mood disorder, anxiety, anxiety disorder, substance related disorder, um, personality disorders. The last one is trauma. So I've listed like 10 mental health disorder. If you enjoyed this video, just go to my subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you get notification of when I release more videos. So in my next videos, I will be taking these mental health disorders one after the other, their characteristics, the help you can get, which involves both treatment and some psychotherapy, and how this can be managed. Thank you very much. I remain your humble self. Happiness Ude.